Now we'll be starting with the discussion of the revisionary test paper of indirect taxes portion. Okay, so here the question is, first is, case scenario based MCQs. Vidula Impacts Limited is engaged in supplying sport goods. The company did not opt for registration under GST, and the proper officer under GST, based on the inquiry, finds the concern is liable for registration, and he registers the firm temporary basis on temporary basis on 15th of June 2020. Now here the proper officer has granted what? A temporary registration. When the proper officer finds that the firm is liable for registration, then the registration is granted on temporary basis here. Now in case of a temporary registration has been granted, we have discussed in the registration chapter that such person is to apply for registration. He has to apply for registration within what? 90 days. Within 90 days. Here he has to make an application for registration within 90 days from the date of grant of such a registration. From date of grant of temporary registration. And in case if he is not satisfied with the temporary registration, then he can submit an appeal, and in case appellate authority so decides that the registration is must, then whenever the order is received, he has to make an application within 30 days of issuance of the order, which is upholding the liability of registration. So this is the provisions which we have discussed at the time of registration in registration chapter. Then here, after being granted registration certificate, the company availed the following services for the purpose of its business. Now here they have availed renting of motor vehicles from Blue Taxi Private Limited, where GST has been charged at rate of 12%. Now here, body corporate is providing renting of motor vehicle service. It's a company which is providing renting of motor vehicle service, and here GST rate charge is 12%, so forward charge mechanism will be applicable. In case if it is renting of motor vehicle services which have been supplied by a person other than a body corporate, and the same has been supplied to a body corporate and rate of GST is 5%, cost of fuel is included, in that case, there is a concept of reverse charge mechanism where the recipient is liable to pay GST on the same, but here it is a body corporate is providing the service. Here the body corporate is providing the service, and basically the rate of GST here is 12%. So this will not be covered under forward charge, will not be covered under reverse charge mechanism. Basically, it will be covered where? Under forward charge mechanism. So we have seen that if supply is by a body corporate, then it is covered under say forward charge. But if supply is by a person other than a body corporate and the recipient is a body corporate, reverse charge mechanism is applicable where rate of GST is what? 5%. Then next is appointed Mr. Rajesh as a technical director for advisory role in the business, and payment was made on contract entered. Now here Rajesh payment is a director of the company. However, he was not the employee of the company. In case he would have been the employee, whatever remuneration is received in capacity of an employee is exempt from GST. But he is not an employee, so whatever services are provided by Rajesh as a technical director to the company, it will be chargeable to tax under reverse charge mechanism. The same will be taxable under, say, reverse charge mechanism. Then, during the course of business, the company issued an invoice to a customer. During the course of business, the company has issued an invoice to the customer and erroneously charged a higher value by 34,000 rupees. They have charged a higher value by 34,000 rupees, and such invoice was issued on 28th of February 21. Now, higher value has been charged from the customer. So definitely credit note will be required to be issued in this case to the customer to reduce the output tax liability, and the customer will be required to reverse the input tax credit. Then in the further in the month of February, the company has also generated an e-way bill for interstate movement of the goods. Now here, the company has generated an e-way bill for interstate movement of the, goods. However, then what happened is, however, immediately on generation of the e-way bill, the buyer cancelled the order before is dispatched from the factory for delivery. Now, when the e-way bill has been generated, subsequently what happened is the buyer, he cancelled the order. Buyer has what? Cancelled the order, and before the delivery, it is dispatched. Before the goods are dispatched to him, the order stands cancelled. Now here, the concerned person, he may what? Cancel the e-way bill so generated. E-way bill which has been generated will be required to be cancelled. So e-way bill can be cancelled electronically on the common portal fundamentally within 24 hours of the generation of e-way bill. Then in month of March 21, since the company was incurring heavy losses, it applied for cancellation of GST registration on 15th of March. The order for cancellation was made on 30th of March, effecting cancelling the registration with effect from 15th of March. Now here, the registration stands order for cancellation was made on 30th of March 21, effecting what? The cancelling the registration with effect from 15th of March. Now they are asking, from the following information provided, choose the most appropriate answer to the questions. After the grant of temporary registration, Vidhula Impacts Limited needs to apply for registration. Within how many days? We have discussed within 90 days, it has to apply. Within 90 days from the date of for the grant of temporary registration. If no extension of the period is to be granted for temporary registration. So here they have to apply within a period of say 90 days. Within a period of 90 days they have to make an application. So this is the first question. Answer is 90 days here. Then in which of the following services the company is liable to pay reverse charge? One is the renting of motor vehicle service. No. Renting of motor vehicle service, it will be covered under forward charge as the service supplier is a body corporate and rate of GST charge is 12%. Directorship services, the same will be covered under reverse charge mechanism. Directorship services, it will be covered under reverse charge mechanism. Now here, which document is required to be issued by company in respect of invoice issued on 28th of February? Which document is required to be issued by company here on invoice which has been issued on 28th of February? Since excess value has been charged in the invoice, the company will be required to issue a credit note. We have discussed the same. The company will be required to issue a credit note in this case. Then the company needs to file final return within 3 months from the date of order of cancellation or the date of cancellation, whichever period expires later, within 3 months. So 3 months of the date of order of cancellation or the effective date of the cancellation, whichever period expires later. Its order of cancellation is made on 30th of March and effective date of cancellation is 15th of March. So from 30th of March, we have to count 3 months. So within a period of 3 months, you have to make an application. So it will be 30th of March, April, May and June. Answer will be 30th of June 21. In this case, it is 30th of June 21. Then which of the following statement is correct in respect of e-way bill which is generated for the goods in the month of February for which order was cancelled? So fundamentally within a period of 24 hours of generation of e-way bill can be cancelled. Regarding cancellation of the e-way bill, once e-way bill, this which of the statement is correct, once e-way bill is generated cannot be cancelled, that is wrong. So here e-way bill can be cancelled basically within 24 hours, of the generation of e-way bill. Then the next question, now here the 6th question onwards, basically it is subjective question. So 5 multiple choice questions were there, case scenario based MCQs, which we have discussed here. This was not very difficult in comparison to what we have seen in the direct access portion. So this is a, case scenario based MCQ. One case scenario based MCQ have been asked by them in the indirect tax portion.